It's no secret that gravel riding is booming, and we know that many of you guys have recently purchased shiny new bikes to go and make the most of it.
However, we reckon that with a few upgrades, we can make those bikes even better. Because after all, better bikes means more fun, and that's what gravel riding is all about, right?
Oh, it absolutely is. Some of our upgrades are expensive, some of them are cheap. But whatever your budget, make sure you stick around for number 6, which we think is our most cost-effective upgrade of the lot.
Everybody get up.
Now, I don't think it's going to be much of a surprise to many of our viewers that our first upgrade is going to be tyres. Now, we completely get that everyone's gravel is completely different, and that does make it rather hard to recommend a single set. However, we can fairly confidently say that that single set weren't the ones that came on your bike.
Yeah, the tyres that manufacturers usually ship their bikes with are, well, how should I say, cheap? And the difference that a good set of tyres can make just can't be understated. There's loads of choice out there, whether you want more grip from something more knobbly, something faster for munching up the miles on the road, or perhaps wider to deal with rocky stuff. And with a decent set of tyre levers, they're really easy to change and that you can do that at home.
Now, obviously, you will want to pay attention to how fat you can fit in your frame. Otherwise, you'll end up with a fairly embarrassing returns process like I did. I think we can agree, though, that tyres are no marginal gain, especially when off-road. They can boost your confidence as well as your grip, and that can just take minutes off your descent time.
Absolutely. While we do understand that not everything is about speed, I personally end up enjoying a ride much more if I haven't got dropped by my mates and seen my life flash before my eyes several times.
Me too.
Yeah, funny that.
One area that manufacturers like to cut costs on their gravel bikes is the seat post.
So unless your bike has an aero profile post, then there are lots of aftermarket alternatives. Commonly, gravel bikes will have a road standard 27.2mm seat post, but obviously check this before you actually buy anything.
As well as just getting something lighter, you could consider a carbon post, which are considered to dampen vibrations from the ground due to their design compliance. Alternatively, there's dropper posts like you'd find on mountain bikes to allow you to get more over the back of the bike on technical descents. Or there's even some suspension posts, which will add some weight, but are a good choice if comfort is the priority.
Speaking of saving weight, potentially the biggest weight saving will come from our next upgrade, the wheels.
A nice set of wheels can absolutely transform the way a bike rides. Low weight and high stiffness will combine to help you accelerate quicker and can make a bike feel just much more responsive.
Yeah, I mean, a heavy wheel set just makes the bike feel sluggish, doesn't it? And that's why when we get sent bikes to test, the manufacturers tend to stick some rather nice wheels on them. Many of the latest road wheel sets are rated for gravel, but heavier riders should look for gravel-specific wheel sets. You'll also want to try and find something that's nice and wide, as this will better support that wide gravel rubber.
Now, this isn't one of the cheapest upgrades, but I'm a big fan of having two wheel sets. You can keep the old cheap set that came on the bike and put in a set of aggressive mud tyres on, and that way you can just swap wheels over rather than swapping tyres.
We also recommend going for something that you can set up tubeless. Now, we know that not everyone is a fan, including me, but there are really some quite sizable benefits.
Firstly, there's the obvious. Tubeless sealant clogs punctures. I've pulled plenty of thorns and flint out of my gravel tyres, and the sealant has meant that I can just keep on riding. Typically, you'll find that some high quality sealant will clog holes up to about 6mm in diameter. That's at gravel pressures, and that's the majority of punctures.
Secondly, you can run lower pressures without the risk of pinching a tube. That's really great on rocky descents, and lower pressures can increase comfort as well as boost grip.
These days, the majority of new wheels are already tubeless ready and often come pre-taped from the factory. Bikes are often sold with tubes in though, as the sealant will have probably gone off whilst they ship them across the world. Typically, all you'll need is some tubeless valves and sealant, making it a really quite inexpensive upgrade.
Absolutely. If you're really pushing the limits of gravel, then you might want to look into changing your bars. For those doing technical descents, you might want something wider and more flared, or long-distance adventure cyclists will be after something offering more comfort and perhaps even with an aero hand position or something like that.
You might also want to consider how much space you've got for a pencil case. And we've also seen brands release bars which dampen vibrations, such as these ones from Lauf with glass fibers.
I'm sorry, a pencil case?
Yeah, the little
bag.
bag.
A bar bag for your
Yes.
snacks.
Oh, there it is, a pencil case.
Lunchbox, basically.
Yeah.
Next up, and this one isn't specific to gravel necessarily, but is your saddle choice. No one likes having a sore behind, and it's also important to remember that everyone's a different shape. There's no one size fits all, so we recommend just trying some out.
You probably already know which you sort of like short, long, wide, narrow. For gravel, I personally quite like a shorter nose, as I find it comfortable when hunched over the bars in the drops, on the road sections, and when sat more upright off-road.
We've seen a lot of gravel-specific saddles released recently, and whilst they're not completely necessary, they do tend to have the right balance of cushioning and flex without being too heavy.
Now, we said our last upgrade would be cheap, didn't we? And handlebar tape is certainly cheap. It can also drastically improve your gravel rides by reducing hand and arm fatigue whilst costing less than a few coffees.
Yeah, for gravel, a thicker bar tape will offer more vibration damping qualities, and some riders will even double wrap their bars.
Yeah, we've seen that done a lot at Paris-Roubaix for years now. I personally really suffer with my hands cramping on long gravel rides, so I'll do whatever it takes to make my bike more comfortable.
I'll tell you what, riding over those cobbles, at the end of each section, I was actually having to, you lift your hands off the bars and then you prise each finger back open. It's that
Nice.
bad. That is a proper hand cramp.
I do not envy you.
You can want to do it next year.
Nope,
He wants to do it next year.
I'll be there.
Other than being cheap, the other good thing about just upgrading your bar tape, it's not going to really slow you down. It won't add much weight, unlike gravel suspension system, or increasing rolling resistance like reducing tire pressures. There's really very little downside, and this is something that you can actually do at home.
Well, I've actually seen your attempts and I'd beg to differ.
Oh,
but
I don't
if
know.
you do follow a video instruction, then you'll soon get the hang of it.
You've hurt me in here. I have to say, in the past, some of my attempts were pretty shoddy. Let us know in the comments what your best gravel bike upgrade has been. And if you've watched this and thought my gravel bike is beyond help, then check out our 6 of the best gravel bikes video, or our recent look into 2 of our favorites released this year.
Thank you very much for watching. Remember to like and subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you in the next one.